Well, good afternoon, everyone. And Matthew, thanks for being on. I saw your comment in the chat. I can't put comments and highlight them in the live stream if it's members only because Chat Ninja doesn't like that. But I did see you're here, and I'm glad that you are. I tried this 2 times live last night and screwed up both of them. So hopefully this works a little bit better. And now that I have somebody who's actually watching the video live, I can actually see if my audio does not go kablooey. So I have just written my review for the Electric State. I actually put up the written form of it on dmtales.com today. So if you're interested in going to read that rather lengthy response or script or article, whatever you want to call it, go over to dmtales.com and go look at it. We'll be videoing it this week and getting it up on the channel sometime by the end of this week. I'm looking forward to getting to that. Scheduling has been just a nightmare. There's so many different flu bugs going around, and my family has been going in and out of them for the past 2 weeks. It's been a lot of fun. So one of the cool things about the Electric State is that it's so easy to make a character. And I'm going to show you how that works as I clear my throat. And we're going to go through it. One of the cool things about it is that it has a really nice Foundry module. It matches the aesthetic of the book perfectly. I don't know who made it. I don't know if Free League actually made it, but it's really, really well done. There is no purchase of the core rule book that I can tell from Free League for the Electric State, but the game is so easy that even though you kind of lose that instant drag and drop ability that you get for some of their things like Dragonbane or Mutant Year Zero or Coriolis or Forbidden Lands, they support Foundry a lot. It's still really easy to set up, and we're going to go through the whole process. So it should be good. And Matthew, it is so far so good. It'll go when I go to this screen. So tell me what happens when I go here. Does my audio sound okay now? That's what I want to know. So you can see that I have the Electric State PDF up over here. And do not be daunted by the fact that it has 17 steps. First off, we're going to be ending pretty much at step 13, because the rest of it you would only do with your group, and we don't have a group that we're working with right now. Gray Army Gaming, good to see you. How you doing? What happened was last night is that I was trying to monitor chat on the YouTube video, and Elise is here. And I didn't mute the tab, and it was throwing audio in as I was talking, and it gave me a headache. And then the next time I forgot to shift the scene. So it was a lot of fun. But now I have people watching, so that's really cool. So we're going to end on 13, and even then, 13 steps, wait till you see how easy this goes. So first things first, it says choose your archetype. There are 10 archetypes in the game, and they're actually listed right here in my table of contents over on the PDF. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll a D10 and we'll see what we get. So why don't we go there? You can see the character sheet right here. Really cool looking. It matches, like I said, it matches the book. But let's roll a D10 and see where we go here. We get an 8. Okay. So 8, well, that's 10, 9, 8. I keep getting Runaway Kid. I've done that like 3 times, but Runaway Kid it is. So let's click on Runaway Kid. You're going to see we're going to roll our attributes, calculate starting health and hope scores. That's going to be done by the sheet. And roll or choose your starting talent. And if your total attribute score is 15 or lower, you're going to choose an additional talent. So that's going to be cool. Yeah, Gray Army Gaming, thank you for being here. Even though it's Sweden, I'm glad that you're here, and I'll get this done really quick for you. Thank you so much for being on. So we're going to do this really, really quick. And the way that you roll for your attribute scores, you can give yourself, I think, 16 points. I need to go back and look at my review, and you can apply them out. You can't have a score that's greater than 6 or lower than 2, but the default way to do it is to roll 4d6. So there's 4d6. We're just going to roll those out there. Now, I do not have anything lower than a 1 or lower than a 2, and therefore this is a character that you can use in the game. If I would have rolled any of those dice that had a 1, I would not have been able to use them. Agility is my key attribute for a Runaway Kid, so I'm just going to put that on there. And 332. I'm going to give him 2 empathy, and we'll do 3 wits and 3 strength. And those attribute scores are really interesting because that's the amount of dice that you would roll for a strength check, an agility check, a wits check, or an wits wits check or an empathy check. It's really, really good, easy. So we're going to go to that. Those are his attribute scores. You can see now his health is set at 3, or excuse me, 5, and his hope is set at 3. That stays the same. There we go. And let's go for our next step on Runaway Kid. One of the things that we can do is we're lower than 15 for our values, so that we actually, because it's a 6, 2, 8, and 6, 14. Yeah, we can pick an extra talent, which is kind of fun. So let's go to Runaway Kid and we'll see what we got here. So first thing is, let's see what his talent is, and we're just going to roll a d6. We're going to go full randomization on this. So let's roll the d6 on here. 3. So we're not getting the base one. Where's my mouse? So Dreamer. Ooh, that's kind of interesting. We're going to find out what that is. Where's the talents? There we go. Talents. Dreamer. Your maximum hope score is increased by 2. Oh, that's kind of cool. And I haven't actually created that one yet. So what I'm going to do, yeah, Matthew, grab a copy of the Electric State. Actually, in my review, I say I usually only recommend, like, if you're interested in this might be something worth checking out. My thing for Electric State is, if you had any interest in this game, just go pick it up. It's gorgeous and it's haunting and it's really, really cool. I do not have Dreamer in my talents yet, so we're going to create a new talent. Dreamer, and it is a talent. There it is. Create that item. I'm going to paste the description in here. Maximum hope score is increased by 2. And what we're going to do is do hope, bonus, 2. Close. And I'm just going to drag Dreamer over to my dream. That makes sense. And it didn't go. Go into the dream. Oh, did it make gear? Hold on a second here. Oh, no, it's a talent type. Never mind. But it should have done my bonus to hope. Interesting. Let's take a look at this. Maybe I did something wrong here. It didn't go to hope. Hope. There we go. Hope 5. There we go. I just did something wrong. I kept on wanting it to go to dream because it was Dreamer. And I can do this great when I'm not doing it live. Let's go back down to Runaway Kid. Let's look at his dream now. 1d6. I'm going to pop that out so that I don't have to keep going back and forth. 1d6. Let's roll that and see what we get. 5. So his dream is to become a good parent. Ooh. Well, that's interesting. Kind of cool. Also, there's a d6 for flaw, so we're going to do that too. 5 for that. His flaw is you're always looking for someone to be your new parent. Oh, this person has parental issues. So one of the things that to be aware of when you are playing the Electric State is, this is a game it is not. Oh, Michael Connors here. How you doing, man? And Christopher Moore, thank you so much. Good to see you guys. So with the Electric State, be aware that when you're playing the game, you are in a society that is basically on the edge of collapse, which might seem too real for folks nowadays. So your travelers, they're called travelers in this game. They're not out to save the world. They're like hanging on to this little thread of hope. And because they're living in this world that is basically falling apart, they carry with them trauma. So go into that. This is a game that is deeply introspective, and it uses horrific elements, not gory elements, but horrific elements and like psychologically horrific elements to make the players be introspective for their characters. So if you've got struggle with that, that's the only thing that I would say, like, maybe this is not a game for you. If you really want escapism, this is probably not the game for you. This has got a lot of actual grit to it. Pretty pretty cool. And you can see that their dream, I want to become a good parent. Why? Because I had crappy parents and I'm now looking for someone to be my parent. And I latch on to people too quickly, which we can see in real life oftentimes when people have terrible parents. And they have that desire to become a good parent, but they don't have any good role models. And so this is now the skeleton from which this character forms, which is really cool. And it is a very fascinating game, Grey Army Gaming. Very, very cool. So we've done the dream, we've done the flaw, we've done the talent. We actually get to pick another talent. Now, we could just pick Dirty Fighter, Dreamer, or Evasive, or we can just pick like any talent that we want. I want something that I think it's going to make him stand out a little bit. So he's got agility, and let's see what we got here. Some way that he's survived, right? How about Hacker? Where's Hacker? There we go. Hacker. Oh, I don't need to define that. Thank you. You get 2 dice when using a Neurocaster to hack into a system. That's pretty cool. That's how this kid has survived in the world. So let's create a new talent. And you can see that I'm slowly building up my thing that I can drag over into the game. And the reason why I get the second talent is because my total scores are under 15. Talent. And it is going to be, let's see if there's a Neurocaster. Neurocaster, actually. Yeah, Neurocaster bonus 2. But it's only for when you're trying to hack into the system. So it's not like when you're trying to attack inside the system. So it's maybe a little bit mechanically difficult, but we'll see how it works out. I'm going to drag Hacker over here because you can do different tasks inside the Neuroscape. And one of them is hacking the system to try to take over like maybe a robot or a drone or a security system. And then if there's other entities that are inside the Neuroscape, you can attack them. That is not necessarily hacking. And you can search for information too. So there's different talents for all of that. So we have our second talent now. And let's go back to the runaway kid. So we get to do our Neurocaster. So not all Neurocasters are the same, kind of like computers nowadays. Check out my written review for what neurocasting is. I'll have the video review up pretty soon. But essentially it is like taking the map of the brain and actually creating it externally. It's really weird. And it's what broke the world. 6. No Neurocaster. He lost his Neurocaster. Oh, that's kind of cool. So he doesn't have a Neurocaster because so his one talent that he has, he can't actually use it. So inside the game, when you're playing it, this character is now going to be on the lookout for trying to get a Neurocaster and is going to do probably some not ethical things to try to get one because that's how they survive. That's pretty cool. You can see how creating just this little skeleton now is creating kind of a story for this character just by these few roles. It's really kind of neat. I'm going to talk a little bit about what characters are and why starting without a Neurocaster doesn't really matter in this game, the way it's designed. Let's roll a 1d6 and we'll see what their starting personal gear is. 5. They got a Walkman. Now, all your starting or your personal items in the game are not useless. I have one person that I rolled up that got a stick of gum, and that actually gives you like a benefit for like trying to persuade other people. I forget what it actually was. So let's look at the table. No, where's the equipment? Personal stuff. There we go. Description, name. Nope. Gear. There we go. Thank you. There we go. What did I say? Walkman? Here, I'm just going to search for Walkman and make it easier on myself. I'm not using a book. I'm using this. There we go. Walkman. Once per day, you can spend a stretch listening to recover hope. That's actually a really valuable thing in this game because hope is what's keeping you from just completely succumbing to mental trauma. It's actually a really nice piece of equipment to have. And this is the 90s, so having a Walkman makes sense. And it is not a modifier. Let's see how much it cost. Ooh, it does not have a cost on there. Ooh, that's kind of fun. We'll leave it blank for now. Equipment. Let's bring my Walkman over to, oh, we gotta go to the gear tab. Bring the Walkman over. There you go. Now, so the archetype is Runaway Kid. Now, the 90s song is another skeleton to just put on that. So what 90s song do you want this kid to have their default if they're going to have a chance to listen to that Walkman or get control of the radio? What's going on the radio? Put it into chat and we'll put it on there. And meanwhile, let's look at rolling up his starting money. Obviously, it's not going to be a wash in cash, so it's $10 times a D6. We haven't used Walkman in a long time. You are correct. This game takes place in the 90s, man. It is the past. A bizarre version of the 90s, but 90s nonetheless. So for 40 bucks, there's not a whole lot that this kid can get. They can grab improvised weapons or clubs. I will say that I created a slingshot. It's sold for $2. You just grab rocks and it doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but it's like at least you have a weapon. And again, this is not a combat heavy game. You're not running around trying to shoot things all the time, because if you do that, you will die. So this is not a standard thing. My slingshot does 1 point of damage. It uses agility, and it costs $2. So basically I'm throwing that in there for them, and I'll make that a favorite. That bonus is how many extra dice you roll when you are attacking. It's going to be a different color because this uses a light version of the Year Zero engine. And what happens is that if you push a roll and a 1 shows up on your gear dice, it gets damaged. And because the bonus is only 1, as soon as it gets damaged once, it's just busted. Like the rubber band for the slingshot actually breaks or something like that. So basically that's it. He's got 2 talents, not a whole lot of high scores in his attributes. He's got a slingshot that he can basically do to the next zone over, and that's pretty much it. If somebody wants to give a favorite song from the 90s, Don't You Forget About Me. Oh, we're doing Don't You Forget About Me. Absolutely. I mean, that's 80s, but we listened to it in the 90s. I'm a kid of the 80s, so came of age in the 90s. Okay, there we go. Don't You Forget About Me, and we'll come up with a description a little bit later. So try to remember 90s songs. Yeah, it's hard because they bleed over, especially early to late. So where's the Traveler? Introduction. There we go. So we have chosen the archetype. We have roll free attributes. We have calculated starting health and hope. We have chosen our starting talent. We've had a second talent. We've done our dream and flaw. We've got our favorite 90s. We need to describe the Traveler. We're going to skip that right now. That's going to be fun. Smells Like Teen Spirit. That is the quintessential 90s song. We haven't had a name. So if you guys have a name you want to choose, go ahead. We do not have a Neurocaster model. We have a personal item with the Walkman, starting cash, and I gave them a slingshot for $2. There's not a whole lot you can buy for $40. It's going to be hugely useful. Might be nice to keep for during play. So if you got a name that you want to give this kid instead of Live Demo 3, that would be great. And strength, agility, wits, probably shorter. Live, able to kind of like be bendy and get around with that agility. That's kind of how they survive in this world, and probably have eluded people trying to locate them up until this point. Oh my God, how about Jake Jake Vangrass. Why not? What the heck, right? Or Vangrass. I have no idea where that came from, but we'll just name that as the name. And that's it. It's simple. You create this character and you can see just through those roles and this real skinny light information sheet, you create this character that has a dream, that has a flaw. Their background and their equipment kind of lend into what their motivation is going to be, which is what Matthew pointed out. And it's just, I mean, it's just that. It's that and this. That's it. Now, there are other things to it, the journey goal and the journey threat and all that sort of thing. That all comes into play when the party comes together. So you would sit down what's basically a session 0 and you would plan out your journey. And hi, Wengus. Yeah, it really is such an easy build. But you would gather with your party. You would say, what is our destination? And your characters would all have a goal for going to that destination, because you're not trying to save the world. You're just trying to getting to that goal is the way that you're hanging on to hope for this journey. That's it. Because you're not trying to save the world. That's not possible in this game. It's like a Mork Borg style thing. It's just going to end eventually. So you're on your goal and you just got to get here. That's all you're doing. And so there's a reason why. Usually you would tie it into your dream. So for this person, I want to become a good parent. These people are going to this town, maybe outside of the nation of Pacifica. And that's where my girlfriend, who told me that she's pregnant, had run away to, and I'm going to go because I'm going to be a good parent. Or I need to get away from my toxic, I'm a pregnant teenager and I need to get away from a toxic situation. And I've heard that there is someone out there or a group out there that takes in young mothers and helps them raise the kids. That's what the idea is. You also have a threat. Every character has a threat that follows them. This is on what they call a counter. It's a little bit of a misnomer because it's not mechanical, it's narrative. And so every time the threat appears, whenever the GM decides it's a good time to have, it's going to escalate its threat or its danger towards the character a little bit. The other cool thing is your goals and your threats can be shared. So say the teenager wants to become a good parent. Well, somebody else might be playing either their partner or like a parent who is trying to drag them out, or like an uncle or an aunt or a friend trying to drag them out. So they have the same goal and they're going together. So they share that. And then maybe they share the same threat too. So it's not like if you have 6 players, you don't necessarily have like 6 completely different storylines. They can all be intertwined. When you are setting up your journey, when you go with the people, there comes a map inside the game and you fold it out and you're basically supposed to say, we're going to take this route and follow the actual map to the place. And then the GM is going to go and going to create stops to help create the story along the way. So it feels very railroady. There are tools in the background or in the back of the book to create stops. And so one of the things that they do suggest is if your characters want to be much more kind of roaming through the countryside as they go to whatever goal they're going to, there's still going to be that goal at the end. They don't have to plan stops. And maybe the GM can just say, okay, we're going this direction this time. And so maybe in between sessions, the GM creates another stop, or if they want to do it completely go off book during the session, the GM could just use the tables in the back of the Electric State RPG's core rulebook and create their new stop along the way, or take one that they pre-wrote and just drag it somewhere else. So there is a little bit of a railroady sense to it, but because it is a journey with a specific starting point and a specific ending point, it makes sense for this game. Also, it is not intended for your characters to be used in more than one journey, which is why it's not that big of a deal that the character doesn't have a neurocaster at the start, because you take the risk to get one because this is their only journey. Just go and do it. As I spit, I really love the setup. I'm looking forward to running this for people. I haven't run the Year Zero engine a whole lot. This simplifies it really, really well. I like the idea of growing tension and mystery and exploring or traveling through this world that is almost normal, but you can see is decaying. It's pretty cool. I like it a whole lot. So that's what I got. Look for my full review of the game coming up a little bit later this week. I might be running this in February for a live stream if I can get everybody scheduled up, and we'll try to do it for a fundraiser for fire relief out in California. But keep an eye out for my review. Hey, Dave, I am literally just about to get done. You're going to have to watch it on review. But keep a watch out for that. You can see how simple it is. This game is cool. Oh, you want to see how rolls work? That would be great. Just so Dave can have some content since he just logged on here. So I want to make an agility roll, right? So I'm just going to go agility and click on that, and it's going to roll 6 dice. There's no gear added to it, and there's no modifier because there's nothing affecting him at the time. I have no successes. Dave, I can't roll in any system at any time. It's just one of the things. Now you see this little button over here. Oh, I'm going to go down. I have to put my thing back on. There we go. I have this little button down here for push, which is going to basically re-roll every die that is not a 1 or a 6. I had 1 there. If I push this die, my hope is going to decrease by at least 1. I might roll more 1s. So let's push it and we'll see what happens. I rolled another 1 and no 6s. So you can see my hope is now 3. And I didn't succeed at whatever I was trying to do with my best stat. It is so awesome. And this is important for a couple of reasons, because if your hope goes down to 0, you basically break. There are optional mental trauma rules inside the game. Again, this is a stressful enough game as it is. So if you're having difficulty kind of adding a mechanic for mental trauma into the game, they suggest you can hand wave this. It's already enough. There's a lot of it in the game is already enough to basically play that out. But it's added in if you get to 0. The other thing is when you are neurocasting, if you fail a roll inside the neuroscape, your bliss goes up by 1. If your bliss ever gets higher than your hope, you are trapped in the neuroscape. It's a really cool system. It's very, very cool. And then I'll show you the slingshot. We'll just go over there. You can see now gear dice is 1, so it's going to roll a black die. That rolled a 6, so that was a success. Oh, I rolled 4 successes. Look at that. I'll never roll that well again. So I'm attacking with my slingshot. It has a base of 1 damage. I rolled 3 extra successes beyond the first. That's 3 extra points of damage, 4 points of damage with that. Very, very cool. And I didn't damage my slingshot. So what I'm going to do is, now I think I rolled 1-1. Let me see. I did roll 1-1, but I rolled a 2 on my gear die. I'm going to push it. If my gear die rolls a 1, you're going to see that it breaks. No, I got an extra success instead. I'm never going to roll this well again in my life, but I lost 2 hope. So, well. Back for that. And now let's look at the Neuro Hacker. You get +2 dice when using a Neurocaster to hack into a system. So, Neurocasting uses wits. Dice pool modifier +2 because I'm using my hacker thing and it's a hacking attempt. It's going to be the same color die because there's no skill dice in this game, and I did succeed. I got a 1. That's basically how it works. It's a very simplified Year Zero engine, and I love it, and it's really, really fast at the table. Very, very cool. Digital dice bad. Can't even punish when they roll bad. I prefer all physical dice. Yeah, Wingus, but I'm doing a demo and I don't have a separate dice cam, so I'm kind of stuck at the moment. But yes, I totally understand. I have run online games using physical dice. It's okay. And and Dave is correct. I roll the dice terrible. No matter what, I roll dice terrible when I'm not rolling dice because my creatures can't hit the broadside of a barn when I am GMing Numenera, and I don't even roll dice in that system. But you can see, real easy, real simple, real cool. Check out my review. And folks, until we see each other again, happy playing, everyone.